Hello, Bob here. Welcome to the Tuesday Night Live show. We thank you for joining us. On tonight's show, we have a great guest, and for those who attended the North Pole Cornerstones inaugural sessions in San Antonio back in February, well, you all know how much fun our guest can be. He shared his talents with us and is here to share with you all. The more we share, the better we all become. Kick back that recliner, grab a snack and drink, dial us up on YouTube on your big screen, and watch us. Tonight's show is brought to you by the opening that is Set Bob's Professional Technical Training School. The legend lives on. This is Tuesday Night Live. Okay, let's get started by bringing in my sidekick, fresh off the road after spending the weekend in Ohio at the Master Claus Academy, where he drug out his big stuff for Santa trailer and then made a stop in Indianapolis on his way home. Here is Spangle.
Hello there. How y'all doing here? This is Spangle from the big state of Texas. We just wanted to welcome you to the show and let you know we're going to have us a good time here tonight. Oh, wait a minute. That's Bob from the good state of Texas. Hey, this is Spangle from the Show Me State. So we're going to show you a good time tonight with our guests we got going on tonight. Welcome to the Tuesday Night Live show.
Fantastic, man. I like the hat you got on there. That's sharp.
Thank you.
Both of them, by the way, not just that one, but both of them. All right,
Fancy
so before we...
Lee's.
What's that?
Fancy Lee's.
Fancy Lee's, that's right. So before we move on, everyone say hi to our producer, my daughter, Angela Mack. She's over here as usual, working herself to death.
Hello.
She says hello. All right, here's the thought. You two want to be too cool for school? Check out the fancylees.com and check out the hats, the swag, everything we got. They, have some fantastic stuff over. Not only our swag, but other things that you can, check into, mugs, license plates, you name it, they've got it. In honor of our guest tonight, we picked a couple of trivia questions tailored towards our guests, like we always like to do. Over to you, Spangle. Throw this one out there at them.
Okay, now are we doing the promo for the school?
That comes afterwards.
Oh, okay. Here it goes. In blank, a pivotal moment in Black Santa history occurred when tap dancing legend blank, blank, blank became Harlan's first Black Santa during an annual Christmas Eve party for underprivileged children. Looking for the year, the full name, including the nickname.
A good one. I like it. I like it a lot.
All right.
Looks like Angela's got it up on the screen there. So, yeah, normally we would do the school promotion first. My mistake. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself tonight. So, since you threw it out there, let's go ahead and run the school promo right here.
All right. Maybe.
Yeah.
Noah Lott reporting for TNL Chatterbox News. This year's School of Santas will be held July 18th through the 21st in beautiful, picturesque Branson, Missouri, right in the heart of the Ozark Mountains. If you've been before, then you know all about the 4 days of festivities that School of Santas is best known for. Each year the host facility, American by Wyndham, Branson and Conference Center is home to over 100 Clauses for the weekend and is centrally located in the middle of everything Branson. If you have never attended SOS, Well, bless your heart, you are missing out on one of the Claus community's premier educational opportunities. For more information on price and to ensure your place at the next School of Santas, contact Tanya Lay at Branson Ticket and Travel today at 800-432-4202. Again, that's 800-432-4202 and get registered today. I'm Noah Lott reporting. Now back over to you guys in the TNL studio.
Okay, so here's what happened, Spangle. I scrolled my page up and I scrolled too far, so I went ahead of myself.
Man, it's all good. Hey, we're missing somebody tonight because I'm looking at these answers pop up and I don't see nothing from AJ.
He's in the back seat. Connie logged in and said hello from her and AJ in the back seat. So they're evidently out in the vehicle traveling. And so they've got, I guess,
it makes it harder for him to get on the second screen to get the answer.
I hear you for sure. Yeah, Angela's going to throw back up. Did you throw it back up? Oh, okay. She said we already have winner. No need to throw it back up. That was easy enough.
Wow.
Well, fantastic. So, yeah, they're on it tonight. All right. So before we get started, we're going to ask you to bow your head for a moment of silence for another one of my best friends and brothers. We lost Santa Adolphus Lee Day, passed away suddenly on Thursday after having surgery on his foot and ankle back on Monday a week ago. It's just happening too often. It seems like we're doing this every week almost. And so let's bow our heads for a moment of silence and we'll be back on the other side. Thank you.
Old Dolphus there, I always said that he was almost the fastest gunslinger in America. He used to do those reenactments out like in Tombstone and Flagstaff, Arizona and stuff. And he was killed more in the street fighting reenactments, I think, than any other person ever has been.
During his tenure doing that, that's what he would always tell us. He was also competed in that quick draw competition where they shoot from the hip. And I know he done quite well on that for a number of years. He lived in Arizona. He lived in Colorado. He lived in Alaska. He actually went to high school in Alaska and made his way to Texas. And I told a little story yesterday about how I first encountered Dolphus. And, he was a larger than life character. I'll tell this real quickly. He was also a photographer for professional bull riding, bareback rodeo, that sort of thing. And he was down in the arena at ground level. And one night, chute open, cowboy on a vicious bull come out of the chute, and he was right there, and the bull swung around and landed on his foot and ankle and messed it up really bad. And he's broken it a couple of times since then. He struggled with it, walked with a limp, been in excruciating pain for years, and decided to go ahead and go in and have it fixed this last Monday week. And it's such a shame to lose him. He's a couple of years older than I am, and just always smiling, always joyous, always joking around. He was quite the jokester, and he lived here in my neighborhood, and along with Scott West, who lives really close to me, as I mentioned yesterday. And we would go to Lone Star Santa events and go out to eat and things. We kind of got to be known as the Three Amigos around here, and so now we're one man down on the Three Amigos. And
he was a lot like Gordon Bailey too. He would give you anything.
Yes, he would. He and Gordon, were good friends also. So I can just imagine them rejoicing.
The reunion.
Yep, the reunion. And I have said this a couple of times. It just seems like it happens too often. Of course, I know that and I don't know that anybody else has really realized it, but this is also the second anniversary of we losing Daisy May. So it's been a somber week for me, brother. I've struggled all week long with my emotions, and it's just hard. It's hard, it's hard on us, and we know where they're going and how glorious and all its grandeur it is. But it's tough on us, staying behind and because we miss, we're human, we miss people. So
Well, anyways, we do got a show to put on for tonight.
we do.
Well, anyways, let's get into this and say tonight's featured guest, a native Houstonian with a natural beard and has much to share. He is a children's book author, a best friend's Christmas that he highlighted on the Monday show, that we highlighted on the Monday show, and is available in English as well as Spanish. He has a long list of accolades that we can attest he certainly has a singing talent. So without any further delay, let's welcome our friend and brother, Patrick Moss, aka Santa Pat with Black Santa EFX, to the Tuesday Night Live show.
Well, hello, everyone. How are you? I'm so glad to be here. And if you will, as you guys chime in, I'd like for you to mention in the comments where you're viewing from, because that would mean a whole lot to me.
All right.
I've seen we've got a couple from Canada that have chimed in already on where their location is. We also saw that Richard Fields mentioned he's at Lake Powell, Arizona. Absolutely gorgeous. If you've never been to Lake Powell, you got to get out there and see it. It's so cool.
Wow.
So I want to ask you as we get ready to start here. It says a natural beard. When do you start growing? Or
well, typically, it takes about 8 weeks. So usually I'll wait until Labor Day, because I've learned that last season I began work in October, so that gives me enough time. But typically, if it's I have a photo shoot that's even sometimes earlier in the year, I'll just take a look at the calendar and calculate 8 weeks, and then that's when I'll stop cutting and letting it grow, because typically off season I don't wear it at all.
8 weeks and you'll grow a full beard.
A full beard.
Show's
Yes,
over.
sir.
Goodbye. Show's over. Bye.
And it is naturally white. I don't use any dyes or any products other than shampoo and conditioner, and every now and then I may do a beard balm, but that is it. I mean, I've been fortunate to consider myself blessed because it grows out like Snow White.
Wow.
That is super cool.
Rumor has it the stuff for Santa's coming out with their own beard balm. Just throwing that out there.
All right, good to know. That's good.
He's
to know.
always seizing the moment, isn't he, Patrick?
Right.
All right, well, gosh, it's good to see you again, and welcome to the show. And with lots of to talk about tonight, you like to share, and so let's start off sharing with folks. How did you get started portraying Santa Claus, and for how many years now?
Wow. Well, I'll start with the number of years. It's actually been 4 years, and 2024 will make my 5th year. How I got started, I used to be a babysitter and a live-in nanny living in South Texas back from 2014 to 2018. And before then, I was in corporate America working in the restaurant industry. So for the most part, front of house would have to keep a clean shaven beard. So I never, ever really grew it out. Well, after I began that live-in job where I didn't have to deal with the public much, I got lazy and I let it grow out. Well, I was there caring for, at the time, 3 young children that eventually became a family of 4. And that last year, 2017, I allowed my beard to grow out. And so the kids would tease me and call me their own personal Santa. I didn't think much of it, let it go in one ear and out the other. So the following year, I was preparing to move back to Houston. And I decided, to take a picture with my beard on the beachfront and then post it on social media. And I got so much positive responses from my friends. I just kind of got overexcited about it. So then I thought I might be on to something. So moving forward to 2019, a young lady who ran an agency out of Houston. Well, it was actually in Fort Bend at the time. She's since relocated. And she approached me and I told her, yeah, I'd be interested, but I wouldn't be moving to Houston until late, 2019. Well, September 2019, I had a heart attack. So I called her and told her that I was going to sit out that year. I appreciate her approaching me, but I wanted to spend time recovering. And of course, as we can see, I have, the doctors gives me a green thumb. But yeah, that 2019, I kind of sat back. So of course, as we all know, March 2020, COVID hit. So we began to scratch our heads and come up with different ideas of how we could approach the upcoming season. And as we all did, put protocol into place. And I was gung-ho 2020, which was my first year as Santa. Working with the agency, I went in with 6 bookings, although she did explain to me that, a few of them would eventually cancel, but that was kind of normal. Well, it was my first year, no big deal. I was excited just to do it, telling my friends and family. But to my dismay, the season didn't turn out in my favor. And the only reason why is because I did not get an opportunity to get photos with my family and friends that first year. The events that were booked perhaps were private, so it wasn't as though I could invite them, nor did I know that I could refer them to the photographer so that they could get a booking. And it did not happen. I was heartbroken. I didn't get any photos with any of my friends or family the first year. So then, of course, that's when I began to scratch my head again and come up with new ideas.
Well, I don't understand that one part you said about you got lazy and let your beard grow. I find letting my beard grow is more work than shaving it off.
That's
well,
true
as
too,
I mentioned, just keep in mind, I used to wear a clean face. And that was almost when I was off, it would be every 3 days I'd shave. But otherwise, it was every single day going into work. And so during the holidays, I'm with the kids hanging out, kicking back, watching them play video games. I'm like, I don't need to shave. So I got lazy.
There you go.
That's quite the journey already, and for those who don't know you very well, that will get to know you better tonight, they're going to find out that you seem like you've been portraying Santa forever. I mean, you were just a natural at it.
Wow.
So,
Well, thank you. A lot of that I attribute to my professional work that I've done on the stage over the years.
Yes.
so what was your decision to create your own brand, Black Santa EFX, and how did you come up with that name?
Well, again, the decision was the fact that I didn't get an opportunity to get photos with my friends and family that year. And I had to think of a way that I could do it. Not only that, I had others to contact me and ask me, hey, well, if I can't hire you through the agency, are you available? And then that's when the chain started churning. The first thing that came to my mind was, I don't have my own Santa suit. If I had my suit, I could have worked outside of the agency my first year. But when that light came on, a few others began to light up. My aunt is a seamstress, and she has sewn for me practically all of my life. So that is the first person that I commissioned after ordering a pattern to have my Santa suit made. So she created the red and white classic suit that you guys see me wearing, perhaps over the years.
Very nice.
Patrick, in San Antonio, we found out that your heritage allows you to perform in a different role as Santa, and I noticed that you've got one of your shirts on tonight. So, kind of explain that to everyone that doesn't know anything about that side of you.
Wow. Well, part of me creating Black Santa EFX, and as you asked earlier how I came up with the name, I wanted to think of something that was simple, that people could easily identify with, which we all could relate to Black Santa. And then the EFX was something that I considered was short and sweet. And it's a play on the word effects as it relates to my multicolored wardrobe. As you mentioned, I've got a total of 7 suits in my wardrobe that are of different colors, but I've got about 12 different looks. One perhaps that I have a harness that I can actually interchange, depending on the request or how I may feel. The reason why I came up with that is because in the Black community, people have a tendency to go with themed Christmas decorations to specifically include certain colors. So the thought came to my mind, well, if I can provide a Santa suit in that color, I'll be that guy for them. In addition to that, I didn't want to be just your typical Black Santa in the traditional red and white suit, just as the others. I wanted to stand out. So what other way to do it was, of course, to come up with the colors. The concept came after watching Good Morning America once, and Robin Roberts were talking about the Christmas holidays. And she mentioned the fact that Christmas is just not of one color. Particularly speaking of races, she said Christmas is many colors. And then it hit me. That's how I came up with my motto, where Christmas comes in many colors. Now, in regard to the African print, that was in relation to me wanting to be authentic. And the idea came about one day where I've got a former classmate that lives in Ghana, West Africa, that we communicate with, and we're still friends here on Facebook. And I thought, what better way to present myself as Black Santa than to get some authentic fabric from Africa, whom we refer to as the motherland, to include in my presentation, to take it to another level, to let people know that what you're getting is the real thing. So what we would do would FaceTime each other on Saturday mornings as he would go to the market and shop for me, and I would choose the design and he would eventually ship it to me, which is how the first safari suit got its name in relation to a trip to Africa, a safari, which is the purple one. If you guys get a chance to check out my website, I've got photos of each of them there on a carousel, and they're each named specifically as well. The fabric itself doesn't have much meaning, but again, it's to enhance the Black culture and share that with those who want some authenticity, something that's real.
So you are the Coca-Cola of the Black Santas. You are the real thing.
That would be me. That would be me.
So anyways, Pat, I have several questions for you. How many Santa suits are in your wardrobe? You kind of went over that. Why do you wear the different colors?
I've got 7. Yeah, I've got 7. And I got about 8 different, maybe 12 different looks I can interchange them with.
Oh, very nice. All right, Bob.
All right. How about this one, Patrick? Is there a Mrs. Claus that accompanies you? And if not, would you consider having one?
Well, no, there is no Mrs. Claus. And I have not considered one, although I am open. While there in San Antonio for the North Pole Cornerstones, I was approached by several of the Mrs. Clauses with the idea of coming up with some ideas. And the year is still ahead of us. So I am open, although there isn't one at the moment.
Well, and kind of going back to San Antonio again, we ask you and others to help us out a little bit. And I know that your presentation that you did in our opening day was stellar, and folks are still talking about it. And again, that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about you wouldn't know that you have only performed for a few years because of how well rounded you are in your portrayal. Even I think it was 3 to 5 minute skit that you did for us, and it was just I was standing behind you going, so fantastic.
And that
job.
Was impromptu. Ms. Golden approached me the night before, and of course I was ready to go. So I spent a little time coming up with something. But I wish I had a little bit more time because I'd have been a little bit more polished, but we always have next year.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Well, again, Pat, I got multiple questions for you. So listen here and we'll see where we go. You have written and self-published your first children's book for both English and Spanish, and it can be found on Amazon. What was your inspiration to write the book? What was your decision to have it published in Spanish? And how long did the process take you? And do you plan to write more? We want to know.
That's a lot.
Wow. It's all good and I'm ready.
All
Well, my
right.
inspiration to write my first book was after my first season. I figured I had come out of the ballpark pretty strong, especially with my introduction with my multiple colors of Santa suits. And then I have to think to myself, what is it that I can do to take my game to the next level? At the same time, to create some residual income. And the idea came to mind was to write a children's book. Now, the title came about because of the children I cared for. The second oldest used to refer to me as his best friend. Yeah, that's it, a best friend's Christmas. Because when we would go out, mind you, it was a Hispanic family of Mexican descent. And of course, me being African American, sometimes we'd get strange looks or whatnot. But naturally, the children were comfortable around me and whatnot. So they kept thinking, well, what is it that we can call you? You know, and so we resorted to it being the best friend. So that's how that came about. um, the Spanish publication came after I had printed the English version, and I began to market it to my Hispanic friends. And then they told me, well, when you get a Spanish copy, we'll buy it. And then I thought, okay, I live in Houston. There's a great percentage of Hispanic population here. I'm not sure of the percentage of those who like to keep the tradition of reading and writing in Spanish, but I figured if I stepped out on that limb and provided it for them, then they have the option to choose one or the other or both. So that's how it came about me doing a Spanish book. How long? It took me about a year. One thing I knew I wanted was to publish my book on my own, self-published. I didn't want to sell the rights. I wanted to keep something that I could claim and own as my very own. So I began to search out different independent publishers. And it took me probably about a good 6 or 7 months because what I did was a little research and reading. I made contact with several agents or publishing representatives, I would refer to them, just to build a relationship to see what direction that they could take me in, you know, to help me promote and market my book. And I narrowed it down to 5 and narrowed it down to eventually 3. And then, of course, the one I had chosen, and there were for several reasons. Number one, this was new to me. And I didn't want to get taken by someone online. Didn't want to get duped or anything of that nature. Secondly, again, I wanted to make sure I'd be the one to hold on to the rights of my publication and not allow anybody to, you know, maneuver or somehow, you know, come up with a deal that was so great. You know, it was understood that I wanted to own my rights. And thirdly, another reason is I have a friend that once lived in St. Petersburg, Florida, and the company that I went with, that's where they were housed. I physically had her to go to the office and scout to check them out to make sure that they were a bona fide business before I sent this money over. In the process, they had raving reviews about, you know, people doing self-publishing and things of that nature. And again, I was sold. To my dismay, it did not happen in the very beginning as I expected. But if I can just let you guys know, I've been proposed to write a book and tell a story about it. So if you follow me, perhaps within the next year and a half, I'll definitely have that story out.
So, okay, now you kind of amaze me. You mean to tell me there's people online that'll take advantage of somebody?
You have got to be kidding me. During the summer, there was a Santa whose account had gotten hacked that approached me about this Bitcoin, you know, and I was being kind. Thank God I didn't get duped for, you know, much of anything. But yes, it happens. It
You
happens.
mean you didn't believe on Bitcoin?
Well, no, and I'm still not sold on it.
Oh man, it's up to 70,000 now or something.
I hear positive things about it from others, and I've got friends that actually delve into it. But
Yeah.
right now, I'm the type of person I personally have to see those residuals and those rewards before I can even share it with somebody. In
I
addition to
understand.
that, like I said, I'm just not one to be taken easily.
Right. I personally am an investor in the cryptocurrency world.
Okay, then. Well, maybe we could sideline and you could offer me some guidance.
Well, I'm not saying what I'm doing is right though. All right. Now, there's several people out there that do have your book already, and there's something
Yes.
about it that they probably don't know. Now
Oh,
tell me, isn't
wow.
there some hidden messages in the illustration?
Yes, yes,
Can you
yes.
share those with us?
Well, for starters, as we begin, it has been brought to my attention that there are two grammatical errors. And once I republish the book, I'm going to make those corrections. But at the same time, they're not that noticeable. But there are two of them there. But moving right along into the book, yes, this book has very, very sentimental values to me for several reasons. The artist, first of all, is a personal friend of mine who actually happens to be a tattoo artist by trade. His name is Yoshio Romero, and we worked together over 10 years ago, which is how we became acquainted. And I've always admired his work. And believe it or not, the first person that came to mind when I came up with the idea was to have him to create the illustrations. Well, there's a short story about it. He wasn't available. So then I reached out to a second friend who is a phenomenal artist, but he didn't have the confidence. And he told me, and we talked over a period of time, and he said, well, he would rather wait, until he built up more skills and all. But I told him, I'm going to keep you in my back pocket because I've got an idea for him to do another one. Well, another friend I was sharing the story with, who happens to be a long time friend, I sang the Lord's Prayer in his wedding when he married first. But we were talking, and he mentioned to me that his second wife, whom he's married to now, is an illustrator. So he said, yeah, maybe you can chat with her about, doing your artwork. So he put me in contact with Teresa. Lo and behold, she lived in Ireland. Although that didn't pose any challenges because we began to communicate and she agreed. Well, maybe about
We seem to be
a
having
month
technical difficulty here with your
after
voice coming through.
us moving into the project, and I sent her the script and gave her the concept and the illustration. I mean, the concept that I wanted for the illustration. She told me that she would have to withdraw because she was starting school and she started a small t-shirt business and wouldn't have time to commit.
Hey, let's pause here a
So
minute. Hey,
I was
Patrick,
back at square one
Patrick,
after 8 months of
can you
working
hear
or
me?
communicating with these people about doing the artwork.
Patrick, can you hear me?
So finally, at the turn of the year, Mr. Romero contacted me and he asked me,
Patrick,
he said, have you found an author for your book yet? I mean, an illustrator for your book yet? And I told him, no. He said, well, I can do it. I'm ready. And we went ahead with plans, and it took him about 5 months to complete his. But for me, it literally took me one day to write this book. I was so compassionate about it. When it came to mind, it just poured out. Oh, okay.
Patrick, can you hear me? We're
I'm
losing your.
listening.
Okay,
I
we're
can
losing your voice.
hear you.
What, Bob? Can you hear me? Okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick. If you can hear me, why don't we have
I
you
can hear
sign
you
out?
quite well.
Okay, you're breaking up terribly
Yes,
bad.
quite well.
Okay, why don't we have you sign out, sign back in, and in the meantime, we'll run the promo for the store.
I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yeah, can you sign out and then sign back in, and we'll run the promo for the show or the store just for a moment because you're breaking up. We'll see if it comes in with a better signal. Is that okay, Bob?
That's fine. Let's go ahead and take our short breather here for the Tuesday Night Live Showstopper Special, Stuff for Santa's Showstopper Special. And Patrick's going to log out, log back in. And while we're doing that, and we'll see you on the other side.
It's okay. I'm good.
Hey guys, we had a little technical difficulty there. We're gonna get him back on and we'll get on with the show. Hey, we're doing stickers today. Okay, the winner is going to get a roll of 500 1.5" I Met Santa stickers and a roll of 2-inch 200 count I Met Santa stickers. And here's our promo today. We're gonna give you 5 rolls of each for $50, and we'll ship them free. That's like getting 2,500 free stickers. But anyways, that's what we're doing today.
All right, let's go ahead and do this next, and we'll be right back.
All right.
Oh, hello there. Yes, of course, it's me, Santa Claus. Now, you may not believe this, but one of the questions I get asked the most is, well, not how do I do it all in one night? No, but where do I get all my things from? Yes, now, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the finest things I have. My glorious gloves, all my knickknacks and trinkets and things. Yes, all the giveaways. Yes, for me to give to the children before the main event. Yes, if I see them in the streets, if they come and see me, I like to have something in my pocket I can treat them with. Yes, and there's one special place where I can find all these magical goods. And that is, of course, StuffForSanta.com. You should head there now and see what magical gifts you can find. Mrs. Claus, have you got my ice pad? Yes, log me on. I'm going to have a look. I shall see you there. StuffForSanta.com. Merry Christmas.
Hey guys, all right, 700 stickers you're getting. I met Santa. What a deal. Anyways, let's go on with this trivia. Blank, one of blank largest department stores hired his first Santa in blank.
First Black Santa.
That's just a technicality. All right. Blank, one of the largest department stores hired its first, or blank, one of blank largest department stores hired its first Black Santa in blank.
So what we need there is the name of the department store, the location of that department store, and the year. That's what we're looking for. All right, did Patrick make it back in?
He did, and then he left again.
Okay, I don't know. We're having some difficulty for some reason. Don't
Well,
know
let's
what
hope
that
we can
was.
get him back. We were doing good until just that little bit, you know.
Towards the end there. Well,
Taking forever. Just a minute.
okay. All right, so again, that is blank. One of blank's largest department stores hired its first Black Santa in blank.
So,
And,
anyways, let me tell you, I was in Ohio at the master's class of the Santa Master Academy, I believe, or something like that. And you know, at SOS this year, we have our featured speakers, Jeff McMullen. And I was so inspired because he was one of the instructors there. And I was so inspired by the things he said. I am so looking forward to Branson.
man,
And I hear Ben's already working on next year's thing in Ohio.
yeah, I heard that too. Also, we want to remind everyone that we will have Jeff McMullen on the show prior to Branson on a Tuesday Night Live show. So that's something else to look forward to.
Yeah. Is that May 14th we were doing that?
I think it was. I was trying to look to see.
Yeah. All right.
Somebody had a question on the thing Spangles giving away. Do
Uh-huh.
they have Mrs. Claus?
Those stickers, do you have it?
You know what? If you're the winner, we will give you a roll, the large roll of Mrs. Claus stickers. But we don't have a bundle package like this of Mrs. Claus. Yet.
Sounds good. Matt back in yet?
He's in, but his screen is blank. He's not in completely.
He's getting closer.
It's getting closer. That's true. Yes, it was May 14th. Tuesday Night Live show. We'll have Jeff McMullen on.
Very good.
And next week we have Pamela McCall. She's also an award-winning author. And that's going to be a very interesting show because of, as I debuted yesterday, the two books you sent me, but especially the history of St. Nicholas and Santa Claus and all that documentation. Spent 10 years putting that book together. It's phenomenal. I had a chance to glance through it some more yesterday. Unbelievable.
I think it would be a hard book to sit and read the whole thing, but just to go in there and look at different things. And
yeah, you're not going to sit down and read it cover to cover, because again, it's a thick book. I've got mine over here. Let me grab it while we're waiting on Patrick.
Oh, yeah, I think she's going to be a nice guest to have in there. I was talking to her today. Yeah.
This thing weighs 3.50 pounds.
Yeah.
And It 'Twas the Night is the name of it. And this is documented history of all the photos, pictures. She traveled around the country from archive to archive for 10 years putting this book together.
It looks like we almost have Patrick Moss coming back.
He's buffering still.
There's our friend.
Yes. All right.
Can you hear us, Patrick?
He's muted.
I think he's frozen too.
Well, that's a shame. So, Red Bradshaw, you have that book, 'Twas the Night, the documentation of the history of St. Nicholas and Santa Claus. I noticed you put in the comment that you got that book. Are you with us, Pat?
Angie, can you go through some of the starred ones that maybe don't deal with Patrick? I probably shouldn't get up on my camera like that. That might be scary if you're watching me on the big channel, big TV. Are we there, Patrick?
Patrick, there you go. You unmuted. I think you're
How's
with us
that?
again.
All
Can you
right.
all hear me?
We can hear you,
Fantastic.
brother. Well, we did.
Wow. It's been a while since we had these kind of issues, but hey, someone
Hey,
says
Patrick, if you hear me, can you log in with your telephone?
yeah. That's how Gina had to do it that one time when we was having trouble with her. So okay, someone's asking
And it
it
might
looks like
be the
Diane.
fact that I'm on a wireless connection.
Can you log in with your telephone, Patrick?
This is awesome. Oh, wow.
You might be here now. Can you hear us?
I can hear you now, Spangle.
Okay. Are you able to log in with your telephone?
I can hear you, Spangle.
Okay.
And you
All
know
right.
what? It very well may be the connection, because on my phone, it's buffering also.
Right. Yes. Okay. Oh, we lost them.
All right, well, let's try to continue on. And Patrick, let's pick up where we left off. You often sign language. Did he go again? We lose him again? Oh my goodness.
Knock, knock, Patrick.
Hey, this is fun. Let me see if I can do this.
All right, we need some entertainment here.
This is your roving reporter calling to you from Texas. Yes, there ain't no place like Texas, you know. I had to get me a new black hat, Bob.
Okay, so Diane Vian asked the question about Pat's website. Diane, it's www.blacksantaefx.com. Blacksantaefx.com. And A Best Friend's Christmas can be bought on Amazon. It's also, as we mentioned, available in Spanish. Una Navidad de Majeros Amigos. Also available on Amazon. And yes, I probably murdered that, but I tried.
Our friend Johnny says she's going over to Amazon as soon as the show's over.
Is there anything else that we can catch here? If we can't get him back here in just a moment, we may have to
Try to have him come back another time.
back another night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting here playing this game with the internet.
Just want to come in.
Yeah. Anybody else want to come in? Great idea.
Look, Spangle's going too.
Can we bring him in audio only?
Yeah, if he can get in audio, we can do that. We don't have to have his picture.
This is if I want to be the good guy. I don't know if the
I like
good guys. I don't know if the good guy's my reputation or not.
I'm going to kind of rate a couple of these starred comments that are on here. Spangle, this is a funny one. Ken Kringle says, can we get Patrick to turn his head and say, what's in your wallet?
Yeah. Well, I was wanting to wait until he was on here to ask him to do that, you know?
Yeah, if he gets back on, we'll have to ask him. See if there's any others. Diane, we've answered Diane's about the website.
Let me throw this out there. There's a new group being formed. Well, it's not really a new group. Oh, there we go. Here we go. We got them.
All right, I'm on my phone now.
All right. It looks like we might be getting somewhere here.
Let's
All
see.
right.
Can you all see me?
We can
Yes,
see
we
you.
can see you and hear you fine, Pat. That's good.
Hang
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
So let's jump into this. You know, you often use sign language when you're doing your presentations. Are
Yes.
you fluent? And can you tell us about that?
No, I am not fluent, but yes, I can tell you about it. That's another thing that I thought of too is what can I do to, of course, enhance my presentation and take it to the next level? Well, there at the Mall of America, I've had a family to come and visit with me, and they were deaf and were communicating via sign. Well, I have a very close friend who is from El Salvador, and his wife happens to be Mexican, and she too is deaf, and that's how they communicate. So when I would go over to visit, I thought to myself, you know what? I could get Eddie to teach me a few phrases and use them on my home visits. And
Yeah.
that's how that came about. And if I can just share one short phrase with you guys, and this is something that everybody can learn, it's simple. Santa loves you. And it's just the idea that you're caressing your beard to identify Santa, crossing with love, and you'll point at the person you're talking to. Santa loves you. And also in my book, there's a phrase that I have written that I signed also, and it's Christmas creates magic. It works if you believe.
Very nice. Hey, I'm going to throw this out there. This is kind of another one of those shameless plugs, all right?
Okay.
Hey, I created this sign language for Santas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we have that on our website too. This has got 100 words related to Santa and Christmas, over 3 dozen phrases, the alphabet, and numbers 1 through 25.
Well, that would be awesome because typically when I do my home visits, I use that as part of my presentation, and it keeps me coming back because they want to do more. I'll definitely jump on that one.
And you know, I found like last year, okay, I was at the Butterfly Palace. I was the Santa there. This little girl come in there, real little, but walking and everything, and she was deaf. And so I was doing like what you said, you know, Santa loves you and Merry Christmas to her.
Aye.
And her parents were just there to visit. I mean, to see the thing. They didn't know Santa was going to be there. They didn't know I was going to sign. And trust me, I don't know a lot of sign. I hired people to help me with this video, okay?
Right.
But mom started crying. Dad was freaking out. They went and bought outfits for the girl. They were coming back the next day. They told everybody that they know on social media that the Santa at the Butterfly Palace signed and stuff. And she said they were coming back the next day. So what did I do? I went home that night and I was studying.
Right. It makes us sharpen our toes.
Yeah, so I was learning all these words and all these phrases and stuff. And I get there and I'm trying to tell her some things. And Mama goes, well, right now she only knows about 20 words.
That's a start. That's a start.
But I was learning a bunch of stuff. I was wanting to have a communication, but she wasn't at that point. You know, she was too young yet to know a lot of words.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was one family that was really impressed this past season when I told them that Santa loved the kids because I noticed them communicating. And the father literally came back and he was like, oh, he really appreciated that. So it means a lot to me to pick up on things and skills like that so I can communicate better, you know, with the children and families during the holidays.
Yeah, and really, us as Santas, we don't need to know a lot. I mean, it's great if you know a lot, but
right,
if you know a little bit and you just try to communicate a little bit,
go a long way.
It means everything to the families. Yes, very true. All right, so here we go. We're on page 2 now.
Back to the show.
Back to the show. All right, so we also know that you sing. How long have you been singing? Any formal training do you sing during the holidays in your presentations as Santa?
Well, I've practically been singing all of my life. I can remember as early as the age of 13. standing in church, being a part of the choir, the youth choir, and just belting my heart out. It's been said that I picked up my skills from my mother, who has sang before, God rest her soul. But she had the nickname of being a songbird because of her voice.
Wow.
As far as formal training outside of high school and a little bit of college, that's about it. However, back in 1998, I was asked by a friend who sang opera to participate in the production of Rigoletto, which I'm sure some of you may be familiar with, that has an all-male cast. And they needed more voices. And I fell in love. And ever since, I've been a part of it. Now, as far as the holidays, I'm a bit cautious. And the reason why is because people have specific requests. And before I actually compiled this list, there are holiday songs that are public that you can sing and non-public that, of course, you need permission. And considering people with video cameras and telephones and things of that nature these days, if I don't have clearance or know that that song is up public domain, I don't even touch the subject at all. Yeah. I shared with you guys a list of those just in case, somebody may want to know or whatnot. But I did that for myself because in creating videos, as we all have learned on social media, they will pull them down. And especially if you don't identify that you do not own the rights or anything of that nature, which is one reason why I kind of wanted to own the rights to my book. So I have the liberty to say and do as I please.
Yeah, hang on just a second. We're going to have Angela throw that list up for us real quick.
Oh, great.
You want to sing us one now?
Oh, well, I'm actually recovering from a head cold from spring break. And I'll take a rain check on that. But yes, if anyone is interested.
Public domain here, and then you also put together a list of non-public domains. So
right.
If anyone wants this list, you can reach out to Patrick and myself. I've got a copy of it, and we'll get you a copy, or we can actually put that over on.
Well, we put it on the TNL page.
Feel free to. Yes, I like to share.
Now I'll tell you about my singing there, Patrick. Okay, I used to be one of these shower singers, and my singing is so bad. When I sang in the shower, the city turned my water off.
Oh my! Well, we're gonna have to work with you on that because people say that they can't sing, but I believe that they can. It just takes a little bit of dedication. We can make those notes come out correctly.
Yeah. And Bob, if you remember, I'm blessed with the Mrs. Claus that I have that works for me. She's a good singer. Remember her singing at SOS last year?
Yeah, sure do. And I got to tell everyone, in San Antonio, we took Saturday night and went to the Riverwalk downtown San Antonio, and I was lucky, man. I got on a boat with Rex Ray and Patrick, and they were sitting right next to each other, and I was on the back side of the bench because it's got a center bench, and so the seats are back in the middle. I didn't have to sing because Patrick and Rex was just bellowing out the tunes, and oh my gosh, I was enjoying it so much listening to you guys who can carry a tune because I darn sure can't, So,
well,
great
I had
job.
this time too singing. That it brought back a whole lot of memories and introduced a few new ones to me as well.
Yeah. Well, my boat had the speaker in it, so that helped us. It drowned the rest of us out.
Yeah, you guys did. You did.
Wow.
Okay, let's get this one in, Patrick. You have visited the Santa Experience, Minnesota, at Mall of America for the past 3 seasons or 3 years. How did you land that mall gig, and what did you like most about being a mall Santa, and what do you like least about being a mall Santa?
Wow. Well, I introduced Black Santa EFX in July of 2020. And no, it was 21. And the photographer I hired was Bill Varenkamp out of Dallas or Mesquite. I think that's where he is.
Yeah.
Well, he and his wife came down, Tanya, and they set up and everything. And at the time when I wore my classic red and white Santa suit, but I had all of the others on display. with the idea of those guests coming in to actually view them and see for themselves, the creations. And by the way, each one of those suits are custom made. And again, a part of that is related to the authenticity. I haven't gotten, the only thing I purchased off the rack are belts from Spangle. I have a belt from you, Spangle, and a buckle. And then of course I have my boots, but my suits and my hats are all custom made. In addition to the Santa bag that I won as a door prize when I was at the North Pole Cornerstones. Thank you, Pamela, Miss Swanky. But yeah, what I like most about it is that it's scheduled. Oh, Bill Varenkamp was the one who referred me. And that was after Larry Jefferson, whom we are all familiar with, had taken off for 1 year because he had other commitments and they were looking to keep the tradition going. And so I was the name that was dropped in the hat. And sure enough, I set up a Zoom call with both Lando and Rachel. And the next thing I know, my first big gig, my first year as Black Santa, was sitting there at Mall of America working with the Santa Experience Minnesota. What I like most about them is that each visit is done by scheduling. There's not a line outside of on pet nights that we sit and wait for guests to come through. But all other guests that come and visit us there is by schedule. And you pretty much have a 15-minute window with a 5-minute grace period. In addition to that, the parents or guardians who made the reservation have an opportunity to share a little bit about that child or those children or that family. So as they come in, I have a notepad, an iPad that has that scheduled guest on it and a few notes about it, whether it's about the toy that they like or something that happened over a period of, the last year, or their pet's name, things of that nature. And I do my best to recall, not remember, but recall the children's name by association before they come in that time frame. So I'm kind of studying throughout the day, the iPad. So when I see them peeping around that door, I call them by name, which again welcomes them and gives them a peace of mind that, hey, it's okay to come and see that guy. That's what I like most. What I don't like, or what I like least, is that I only get to spend about 5 to 6 days there. I wish I could spend more time.
Cool. Not only have they had Larry and yourself, they also brought in Alan Sue this last year or year before last. He's a Chinese American. He's one of my Texas State Santas, Lone Star Santa brothers of ours that lives here in the Metroplex. And he went to Gordon Bailey's very first class that Gordon had here in the Texas area 10 years ago. And he's made an excellent Santa too.
Wow. If I can mention, the Alan has worked there 2 years. This is the first year. This past season, he and I got an opportunity to actually meet and interact with one another. But if I can just chime in too a little bit about Gordon. When I first introduced myself as Santa Pat, before I became a member of any group or any organization or took any interest in any of that, he reached out to me and asked me for my phone number and physically called me.
And how many hours did that last?
Oh, wow. Well, actually, it didn't last much, but what stood out the most is what he shared with me was, one, welcoming me to the industry and the community and sharing with me the different groups that I've become a part of. He said, but there's one thing I'd like for you to do when you take your pictures. And he said, that smile with your eyes. And that meant the world to me, because one of my previous employers who hired me, that I worked for over 10 years, told me the reason why he hired me was because of my smile.
Very good.
So obviously I've got something going on here that people can see.
That is $1 million smile you have, Pat, for sure.
Yes, yes. And, a lot of us that know Gordon have known Gordon for many, many years and stuff. You'll find out some of them phone calls go on for hours and hours.
Oh, my. Well, he was good to me, maybe because I was new.
You'd get done talking to Gordon and your phone would be hot.
Very hot, yeah. Or the battery would go dead.
Wow.
Hey, anyways, Patrick, What was your most memorable moment while working in the mall with the photographer, the preschool visit, retirement home facility, or home visit?
Wow. Well,
What was most embarrassing also? We want to know.
oh wow. Well, I'll start with the most memorable. Working there at the at Mall of America. Last 2 seasons ago, there was a family of three. It was 4 children, but only 3 of them were present. But each one of them were on the autism spectrum, and their mother asked if they could come back and interview me because the children themselves hosted a podcast. And that meant so much to me. Later did I learn that their mother is from Houston and grew up literally physically less than a half a mile away from me. That was one of my most memorable moments working there
Did
at the
you do
mall.
the podcast?
I'm sorry?
Were you able to do the podcast?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Good. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, the 3 children themselves, and they had their own photographer and an actual microphone that each of them had, and they had questions for me, but it was special because they were children, and it was an official interview.
Now, some of our viewers are going to ask, is this podcast out on the internet where they can see it?
Yes, it is. And what I'll have to do is perhaps add a link to my profile. But if you follow me on social media, it is a part of my post in my private group, Santa Pat's Black Santa Journey 2024, that I kind of have to personally invite you to. Yeah, unfortunately, I did have a Facebook page that got hacked, and I'm in the process of rebuilding now, that I'll probably include it on the future. But yes, it is available. It's out. And if you follow me or request to send me a message, and I'll see to it that you get that link.
Very good. Very nice. All right. We want to know your most embarrassing thing, too.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm fairly new. I haven't had anything that I can consider embarrassing just yet. So let's see what the future has to hold.
The next time we talk to you, you're bound to have one by then.
Okay, and I'll definitely share it.
Well, we know that you travel with your talents, Patrick. So what do you like most about traveling, and why or why not?
Wow. Well, what I like most about traveling is the fact that I get an opportunity to share what I have with others abroad. What I least like about traveling is having to pack up and come back home. Sometimes you just want to extend that stay,
I get it.
All right. During the off season, do you portray the Easter Bunny at Easter or any Christmas in July type gigs?
No, I don't. As I mentioned, this is all fairly new to me, and I'm still in the process of building and creating this company, and until I can hone in and perhaps secure a few more graduate certificates from Santa schools, I kind of want to stick in this area for now. Now, I did introduce Black Santa EFX in July of 2020, and that 2021, and that was the idea, to piggyback off of Christmas in July, and again to kind of be in the lines with what everything else that was going on. But for the most part, I just stick to the holidays, and as of this past season, it appears as though I'll be beginning as early as October.
Good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would you like for your legacy to be? What do you want to be remembered by the most?
I would like for my legacy to be my children's books, and if I can just share, because we didn't get quite finished earlier, in the process of me writing the first one, an idea came up for me to create a series. So I'm currently working on the second one to follow up. And it appears as though I may end up with probably about 6 or 7 of them by the time I'm done, to end with Kwanzaa.
That's cool.
Yeah. Some of the hidden messages that I want to share. One of the characters is German. And if you can take a look at his clothes, his hoodie is the color of the German flag. One design about the book, for those who have it, if you notice, I've got the text on one side and then the illustration on the other. And as you go through the book, you can actually go side by side if you're showing it or presenting it to a group of people. For one, the text won't interfere with the artist's illustration at all, and you get to appreciate his work. At the same time, the backgrounds of each of the pages actually match, if you can take a look too. But yeah, that's my pride and joy there, my first. On that particular page, if you look at the bottom, there's an iguana on a rock. This before you go back, Bob, you went too fast. On that same page, there was an iguana on the rock. Well, initially, the artist, I gave him the freedom to do whatever he wanted. I just told him the concept. And he actually drew a scorpion. Right. And I told him I didn't want the scorpion. He had to change it. So we moved it to an iguana.
All right. Hey, so to piggyback Bob's question, if given the opportunity, what would be what would you like your legacy to, or hold on, I'm on the wrong line. I'm sorry. Technical difficulty here. I'm going to log out, log back in. If given the decision, if given the decision, how would you like to be memorialized?
Memorialized. Hopefully, I look forward to being memorialized on a postage stamp. Once I reach that pinnacle, I would have made it.
But you'll never know that. That'll be long gone.
It's unique.
Right.
Very unique. I don't believe I've ever heard anybody that,
I have been on a U.S. postage stamp before.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I have. My image was on a postage stamp because there was I forget the name of the company, but there's a company out there that you can actually have your image printed on postage stamps.
Oh, wow. I'll have to do some research.
There you go, Patrick, right there. There you go, man. Get ahead of it before you're memorialized.
Right. And you asked earlier, too, what did I want to be most remembered by? And that's my passion for the holidays and the dedication and sincerity that I put into it.
I think you're all the way there already.
Thank you. That means a lot.
If given the opportunity, what would you be the most ultimate gig for you as Santa Claus? And follow up to that would be, what do you want most to remember about your brand, the Black Santa EFX?
Well, in regards to my ultimate gig, a USO visit. I would love the opportunity to visit with the armed forces during the holidays because those people do a lot for us. And I'd be forever indebted to them. And for those who are currently serving and the veterans, I appreciate it.
On a side note, Gordon Bailey traveled doing magic with USO a couple of years, I believe, overseas before I met him. But that was a story he liked to tell.
Oh, my.
Patrick, I got some sad news for you, my friend.
I'm listening.
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what Rex just posted.
Photo stamps is now closed.
Yes, well, sadly, the U.S. Postal Service has ended its customized postage program. We're no longer able to offer photo stamps.
It's okay. I'll find a way to get around it.
So did you mention what you wanted to most to remember about your brand?
My brand, Black Santa EFX, and basically the authenticity of what I present. Again, the dedication that I put into creating all this and presenting it to you, and to know that it's from my heart. And all we want to do is simply spread love and joy, peace to everybody.
Great message.
All right. Tell us this information because people are going to want to know, okay? Curious minds want to know. How can you be found for your website? How can you be contacted via email? Where can your books be purchased?
All right. Well,
your sales are going up tomorrow.
To be real simple, you can either Google me, Patrick Moss, or Black Santa EFX. You can find the links to purchase my books both on Google as well as if you search out my profile on either Facebook under Patrick Moss or Instagram, which is Black_Santa_EFX. But again, all of that is located in my profile on Facebook.
All right, so let's go to our viewers and see if they have any questions or comments.
All right.
Okay, here's a good one. We kind of talked about this while you were logging out and logging back in, but this is kind of funny. You're going to get a kick out of this, Pat.
Okay.
Kenny Kringle says, "Can we get Patrick to turn his head and say, 'What's in your wallet?'"
Tell you to have to send me a message and I'll send a private video because that's
Come on, we all got to see it, man. Come on.
What's in your no? Yeah, because I'm gonna need to get paid for that one.
That's right.
Tania Hampson says, "We need to get the book." I think she's talking to Randall, her husband. But again, you just explained how you can get the book. So Deanna Golden wants to say hello to you, Santa Pat, and says you're
Hello.
looking great tonight.
Hello, Deanna. How are you? And thank you.
Diane Van wanted to know about your website, and we shared it with her also while you were logging out and logging back in.
Great, thank you. I have yet to update it for this season, well, the upcoming season, but yeah, it's still live.
I'm not sure who this one.
Scott.
Who?
Scott Saracen.
Scott Seriton. You remember Scott from San Antonio? Says,
Yes, I do.
you were so much fun in San Antonio, so that was a great message.
Thank you.
Betsy was also in San Antonio with us. She says the Mrs. Clauses are huge fans of Santa Pat.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Sean White, who was with us in San Antonio. Boy, we got a whole crowd here tonight. I love that you have put so much thought into what you do, Patrick. Being authentic reflects your wonderful personality.
You.
And
Thank
I warned everybody about your personality. I said, look out, Patrick's coming. Tanya says, I am heading over to Amazon after the show. So she's heading over to see if she can find your book.
Thank you. They have it both in English and Spanish, but the links are on my profile that she can access.
Who was this one, Angie? Okay, so all I have here, Patrick, is Facebook user, but they say, Patrick, do you use reindeer or other animals to pull your sleigh in your backstory? Sorry.
Nope, I don't have any reindeer in my backstory. However, I am learning each reindeer name this season so that I can teach it.
There you go. AJ Bayless says, does Patrick have claws cards yet, Spangle?
Not yet. We're wondering why he doesn't.
No, not yet. I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon soon.
Yeah, they're.
And by the way, there was an updated list put out today of
I noticed
those who have been added to the card list, and it's over 50 on that list now. So
because the number that I consider would already be taken, but I'm gonna have to revisit that. But I'll
What
definitely.
number were you thinking?
I'm not gonna say because it's gone already.
Oh. So
well, add a one to it.
You need to jump on there before the first 100, or you want to be in the first 100.
Okay, I'll keep that one in mind.
So Tanya Hampson wants to share, says a friend of ours got flagged for his own song while doing a live feed. It's something you really got to watch out for, like Patrick said, with open domain, closed domain, copyright, intellectual property. I mean, we have to be careful what we do here on the show, because if we play music that is copywritten and then YouTube will flag us on that. And after a couple of 3 flags, they can actually suspend your channel for a while. So
if
you really have to be careful.
I would just simply recommend, I do own the rights to this, which is claiming it before he begins. And there shouldn't, and if they question it, then he's the one that they're going to question.
Rex Ray says Santa Rex sings in one key only. Off. That's not true, Rex. You and Patrick were really harmonizing great together on the vote. I enjoyed it.
I had fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, Pat. We'll have to do it again next year.
I look
Deanna Golden says, Bob, you were lip syncing in San Antonio to Milli Vanilli, perhaps. Laugh out loud.
She was
Hey, you never
telling on me.
know, Deanna.
oh wow.
Patrick, what event do you do most? What event do you most want to do, and what event do you refuse to do? You're fabulous, Deanna.
If I haven't refused any, I knew the first year I was a little bit reluctant to do the pets. And what I've decided, of course, is that I definitely have to have a dedicated and a designated suit strictly
Yes.
for them, primarily so that there won't be any cross contaminations. You know, people who may have allergies and things of that nature. But there is nothing that I have not I will not consider. And I guess what I like most is both working equally with photographers and at Mall of America with the Santa experience. Typically with the photographers, of course, I'll introduce myself by sending over a copy of my bio, insurance, as well as you know, all my coverage and things of that nature, and let them know my rates. But I have a conversation with them and let them know what I offer. And believe it or not, in most cases, I'm somewhat bringing my own props that they appreciate because it enhances their photos and what they're presenting as well. So equally, one with the Mall of America and Santa experiences because it's more structured and it's not a run of the mill. And the same thing pretty much with the photographers after we've established, as well as event planners too, that we've established the program of what I'm going to present whenever I show up. It's understanding, even with home visits, I have a timed itinerary because I typically, you know, work by the hour. And it's understood if we go over that, you know, what the rate is every 15 minutes thereafter, you know, that we agree upon at that time.
For sure. I want to share with you real quick. You know, I'm a mall Santa also, and I have used a faux apron in the past, but I actually switched over to a Christmas tree skirt. That
Oh,
is really decorative. Looks really nice. You lay it on your lap for pet night. And I take two pairs of gloves, one for children, one for pets, and I change in between because
right.
they're not. Our pet night's not. We're just only pets. It's mixed, and it seems that it's child, pet, child, pet, child, pet, backwards and forth all night long. We use a disinfectant spray. I
Mm,
spray my complete self over after a pet if you know I'm holding the pet, and then my big wingback chair is a cloth chair. I have a brush, a velour brush that I brush it out to make sure there's no pet hair, and
uh,
then I spray it with disinfectant, and that way there's no cross contamination because it's something you do have to be careful with.
right. Usually, what I do at Mall of America, what they do is wait till the end of the evening and schedule the pets. Like I mentioned, there's a pet night that's designated specific for them.
Yes, sir.
However, last year we had an occurrence because on Sundays we know that's pet night, and it was understood that I'm changing suits with the staff and
Mm.
all. Well, there was this couple who had their pet scheduled for later that evening, but they came earlier in the day thinking that they could get a photo. And I had to explain to them that I'd have to change suits because, you know, the situation and all the circumstances. Well, they didn't realize they had an event later that evening. So they thought they'd just come in and slide in early and get the photos. Well, the staff handled it, but the guests had to come back. They offered them to come back at the top of the hour instead of their scheduled time. Do you know these people have a change of suits for their pet also?
It happens.
Outfit.
We
And I was
wouldn't
like,
believe how often it happens.
oh,
And when and that happens to me quite often at the mall, especially for some reason this year we
mhm,
had designated night, but again we still take children and pets separate of each other. So I'm not lucky like you, where it's just all pets or all children on those
yeah,
nights. But what I do in that case is I explain to them about the cross contamination, allergies,
right,
and ask them that I will go ahead and take the photo with them, but they're either going to have to hold the animal or have the animal sit out in front of us, you know,
exactly.
in front of us in a chair or whatever. That
Right.
way I don't have that problem. But there's, you know, some
A-
folks get it, some folks don't.
Another great thing that works that people don't realize: treats. Tell your people to bring treats for their dogs. It helps control them.
Yes, it does. And the squeaker.
The
Have your
photographer,
photographer have that squeaker handy because they squeak that squeaker and that dog turns and his ears
Right.
go forward and looks right into the camera.
that is so
So
true.
Yeah, you know, even when you have design pet nights, I've found that when I have done some chair work, you get someone to come in and they got their service animal,
yep.
and you know that happens too. You know,
Well, we get around that clause. It's still an animal.
right.
Okay, continuing on with our comments that were started over here. Sean White says, I see lots of good stuff in your future, Patrick, with a heart.
Thank you so very much, son. You're very special, and I really appreciate that.
Rex Ray says, Pat, is there any way any of us can purchase those African fabrics?
Ooh, that was a personal connection, and I'll be honest with you. I've had others to tell me that there's places here in Houston where you can purchase them. But my reasoning, of course, to reach out to Ghana is that I know for a fact where they came from.
Yeah.
Whereas if I were to go to a local business here, who knows how many hands it may have changed or where it actually came from. But I would just simply research. This is what I'm wearing is considered wax print. And then, of course, my black suit is mud cloth, 2 words. And if you just simply Google them, you could find them. But again, I mean, you'd really have to do your homework, you know, to make sure it's authentic fabric. And once you receive it, you'll be able to tell because the mud cloth itself has oils in it from the dyes. And then this wax print fabric has really a wax finish to it.
Huh.
Yeah, some of them are made of cotton without it. But again, that's a personal connection that I had just to know that I was getting the real thing.
Okay, moving along. Deanna Golden wants to know, Patrick, can I get an autographed copy of your book?
You certainly may, Deanna, and I'll reach out to you via Messenger, and we'll get that taken care of.
Nanny, nanny, boo, boo.
As well as to you, Spangle.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome.
AJ Bayless wants to know if you're going to ever make it to Branson.
Yes, I was just sharing that with another one of the Santas that I work with up at the Mall of America. I'm new and I can only budget so much a year. So what I've decided to do is to designate 3 schools that I'm going to attend, and Branson has to be one of them, but not this season. Perhaps in 25.
It's okay. That's all right. Yeah, hey, you can only do so much, right?
Right.
All right. So Santa Al Jastrom, who also was in San Antonio with us, says sharing a table with you in San Antonio was a blast.
Wow, you guys made me really feel welcome, and I really appreciate that.
Judith Broderick, who was part of our team, also says, how can we get a signed copy? She was, asking the same thing that Deanna was asking.
Okay,
Judith, money talks. Judith, money talks.
All right, let me get y'all's names here so I can remember.
What's that, Angela?
AJ also needs an autograph.
AJ wants an autographed copy also. So AJ Bailey.
Money talks.
Jessica Rosa says, I love getting to meet you at North Pole Cornerstones. I hope you love your headshots.
I do. And Jessica, I want you to keep an eye out. I've got an article coming out soon that I used it. So I look for it perhaps within the next week. And of course, you get credit.
The next one also in San Antonio with us. Randy Neely says, truly a great Santa. Debbie and I had so much fun at MPC meeting you.
Oh, the Neelys. Thank you guys. Y'all gonna make me cry.
They're good people too, aren't they?
Yeah.
Charlie Johnson says, use a puppy pad inside a folded red towel. Works great. Talking about pet night.
Right. Yeah, I've had ideas. People suggest that as well. I've made note.
Charlie Johnson says, excellent interviewee and interview. Well, thank you, Charlie.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Ken Kringle says, I love cutting up, but I have to be serious a moment and say that after this show, I have the utmost respect for Patrick and his approach to his craft.
Thank you. I again appreciate that. Like I tell you guys, I mean, I thought about it, and I just didn't want to, be somebody just jumping in the game and all. And even over the process, I mean, it's taken a lot of work, and I really enjoy doing it. Really, you guys have no idea. I
You
get
know,
it.
our community is really unique in the way that we're so diverse now, and we're all children of Christ, and we all have the same common goal, and that is serving the folks in our communities, the children, the families, and pouring our heart and soul out into the portrayal of Santa in the history and protecting the image of Santa.
Yeah.
And Pat, you serve us well.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be a part of the industry.
Okay, I don't know if we have any more. Charlie Johnson reiterates squeakers work great for getting kiddos and pets attention. That is true. They
Yeah.
they do work great. Or the squawky chickens where you squeak them and they are, ah, those are great too.
I still
Not
have
too
my
good for
squeaker
babies, but
when we were in San Antonio.
okay. Well, that looks like it's all of the comments that we have.
Ooh.
Let's go ahead and move on along right here. Pat, stay with us. We're going to reveal tonight's trivia answers.
All
We're
right.
going to
Thank you.
schoolofsantas.com, which is good for your name going in the hat for the drawing for the scholarship. If you win this, we do have winners, right? Okay, fantastic. In 1936, a pivotal moment in Black Santa history occurred when tap dancing legend Bill Bojangles Robinson became Harlem's first Black Santa during an annual Christmas Eve party for underprivileged children. So the answer there was 1936. Bill Bojangles Robinson. And the winner was?
Joe Edie.
Who?
Joe Edie.
Joe Edie wins that one. Joe, your name goes into the drawing for the School of Santas 2024. We will hold that drawing about 6 weeks prior to the event in July. So be sure and check in, and good luck. All right, stuffforsanta.com. We were looking for a blank. One of Blank's largest department stores hired its first Black Santa Claus in. That was Blumstein's, one of Harlem's largest department stores, and that was back in 1943. Winner?
Nancy Kyle.
Who?
Nancy Kyle.
Nancy Kyle. Okay, fantastic. Nancy, you win that one. If you can, send Spangle a private message with your mailing address so he can get stuff out to you. Now, I'm going to assume she wants some Mrs. Claus.
Yeah, we'll
If
get
you
her.
do, be sure and let Spangle know on those
We'll get her
coins.
taken care of.
And there's one more comment there for Patrick.
Starred. Okay, let me grab that starred comment. Rex Ray says, Pat, love your infectious joy and jolly. Keep bringing it, my brother in red.
Thank you, and I certainly will.
Okay, Spangle, over to you.
All right. So,
No, wait a minute. Actually, I need.
you're throwing it to me for closing thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Michael, what are your closing thoughts?
Hey, I want to tell you, while I was in Ohio, I met a lot of people that I don't know how they didn't know, but they hadn't known about our show yet. Some of them said they were going to start watching it. I want to just give a shout out if they're watching it. And I did see somebody from Indiana when I was there, and they're watching it tonight. I just want to say, hey, it was nice seeing you guys. Thanks for coming on and watching the show tonight. And I want to thank Patrick. What a great show. Little technical problems, but we got through it. You came back flying colors, man. And I know our guests were really hoping that you were coming back, and so are we. And we're glad you did.
Yes, we are, Pat.
Okay,
I can't
anyway.
thank you enough. I can't thank you enough, brother. All the help that you gave setting this show up for tonight. It's a joy to work with folks who are truly infectious with not only life, but with the Christmas community as a whole. So thank you so much. Great show. We love you, brother, and we hope to see you back in San Antonio next February, and can't wait to see you up in Branson next year.
Fantastic. Y'all have a great evening, and thanks for having me.
All right.
Don't go anywhere, and
I know.
like I said, stick around. We'll
stick
go back to green room.
All right, all you out there in TV land and Facebook land, join us next week for our next TNL episode, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. And you can't forget to watch the next Monday show at 3 o'clock, the Bob and Randall, 3 o'clock Central. You guys got to, I don't get to watch that one all the time. I try to, and I'm not there. I can't babysit them guys all the time. So, guys, you got to help me out. You got to watch that show and make sure them guys are behaving for me.
That's right. We want to give a big shout out tonight, as we always do, to schoolofsantas.com, stuffersantas.com, holidayphotomagic.com, thermapparel.com, fancylees.com, and northpolecornerstones.com. Just remember, all of our shows are recorded and over on YouTube at the Tuesday Night Live Show, and also on Mondays, we have the Monday Show, have our own channel over there. Look us up. As yet another show comes to an end, we want to wish each and every one of you happy closing. Tell everyone good night, Spangle.
Good night, Spangle.
Very good, Pat. You want to say good night to everyone?
Good night to everybody, and I appreciate each one of you that tuned in for my interview. That means a lot.
Great job. Remember to join us for our next Tuesday Night Live each week, 7 p.m. Central. Same Claus time, same Claus channel. May your troubles be small, your blessings be large. Count your blessings, not your sorrows. Until next time, on behalf of the whole TNL crew and Patrick Moss, I'm Santa Bob McMaster saying good night. Never stop learning. Hope to see you back here next Tuesday night, and check us out on Monday. We have fun over there too. Good night, all.